Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. May Triple Gem bless you all. Today also we will continue our Mahasatipatthana Sutta, the one and only path towards the enlightenment, Nibbana. You know, taking maybe 61 sessions, nearly 2 hours, and we finish Kayanupassana and Vedananupassana. Now we reach to Cittanānupassanā, the third mindfulness, the foundation of mindfulness, Cittanānupassanā. What is Cittanānupassanā? The contemplation of the consciousness as consciousness. That is the Cittanānupassanā. But up to now, we came to a conclusion that when Buddha gave one here Chitta, one phenomenon. So when we finish Vedana phenomena. So in the case of Vedana phenomenon also, you first need to discern whole mentality. Before that, whole materiality. And before that, 4-element meditation. Before that, you need to practice if you would like to practice as a samatha jhana vipassaka, then you must practice samatha jhana. And if you are a suddha vipassaka or the pure insight meditator, you need to practice 4-element meditation directly. So don't forget about this. We want to apply here also that thing. Chitta mean, this is the one mental phenomenon. So only one mental phenomenon. But if you need to attain Nibbana, this one mental phenomenon is not enough. You need to practice every mentality. You need to practice before that, especially as a Suddha Vipassaka, you need to practice materiality meditation first. Here also. Before materiality meditation, you need to practice 4-element meditation. So 4-element meditation, that means for the Samatha jhana vipassaka as well as to the Suddha vipassaka, this 4-element meditation is, that's the main meditation. This 4-element meditation these days, we want to pay respect to our Sayadaw, because he is the one who teach us this 4-element meditation systematically. Otherwise, we drop this 4-element meditation. So keep it in mind here also, therefore, in Cittanānupassanā, you just, if you directly enter into the Cittanānupassanā and do the Vipassana, that's impossible. And it will be definitely a fake Vipassana. But you need to practice real Vipassana to attain Nibbana. Now, let's see how Buddha explained this Cittanānupassanā. Let's move to our Mahasatipatthana Sutta. Okay, let's see Cittanānupassanā. Number 381. So it says in this Buddha gave this Dhamma talk to the Mahasatipatthana Sutta in this way. Katanchapana bhikkhave bhikkhu chitte Cittanānupassanā vihirati. Buddha mention, our Bhagava mention in this way, bhikkhave monk, katanchapana, how? How? Bhikkhu chitte Cittanānupassanā vihirati. A monk contemplates, monk dwells, or monk abodes, contemplating consciousness as consciousness. That's the meaning. Consciousness as consciousness. Here, this is the vipassana. But before the vipassana mean your sammasana jnana stage, starting from the sammasana jnana state. But before vipassana, you need to practice the rest of previous parts of the meditation, as I mentioned before. And idabhikkhave bhikkhu, then Buddha continue his Dhamma talk in this way. Idabhikkhave bhikkhu saragam va chittam saragam chittanti pajanati. Actually here, Buddha mentioned all mundane minds, not the supramundane mind. Because why? You need to practice mundane mind consciousnesses before attain to the supramundane states. So therefore, here Buddha emphasize the mundane minds, like saragam va chittam. Okay, let's see. Saragam va chittam. Idabhikkhave bhikkhu saragam va chittam saragam chittanti pajanati. Ida mean in this sasana, in the Buddha sasana, bhikkhave monk, bhikkhu, one monk, saragam va chittam saragam chittanti pajanati. And monk, in this sasana, a monk understands that saragam means a lustful mind, lustful mindset. A monk understands that lustful mindset as lustful. Saragam va chittam, saragam chittanti pajanati. And again says, vitaragam va chittam, vitaragam chittanti pajanati. Vitaraga means that is in contrast to the saraga, lustful. That means without without lust, or without greed, or we can say without craving. The mind without craving. So, in this way, you need to understand. Then he understands that lust-free mind as lust-free. And this is one pair. Here, 8 kind of pair we have. So this is the first pair. And the second pair, when we go to the second pair, sadosam va chittam sadosam chittanti pajanati. He understands that mind with hate as mind with hate as hated mind. And again, Buddha mentioned, Vita dosam va chittam, Vita dosam chittanti pajanati. With the second pair, and Vita dosa, dosa mean the hatred or aversion, animosity, and we can say many names, anger. So Vita dosa mean, sadosa mean with hatred or aversion. And Vita dosa mean without having hatred or aversion, like that. So second spare in this way, he understands hatred mindset as hatred. And vita dosam chittam vita dosam va chittam vita dosam chittanti pajanati. He understands that hatred free mindset as hatred free. And the third pair, samoham va chittam samoham chittanti pajanati. And he understands that Delusion, samoha mean with delusion or ignorance. Samoha mean that is the avijja, right? Avijja. So he understands that delusion mindset as delusion. And the second, in the third pair, the second sentence, Vitamohan chittang, vitamohan va chittang, vitamohan chittanti pajanati. He understands that delusion-free mind as delusion-free. And the fourth pair, sankitang va chittang, sankitang chittanti pajanati. Sankita means contracted mindset. Contracted mindset. So he understands that contracted mindset, he mean who is he here? Meditator. Right? Meditator understands that contracted mindset as contracted. And then again, vikitang va chittang, vikitang chittanti pajanati. What is vikita? Vikita means distracted mind or distraught mind. So here meditator understands that distracted mind or the distraught mindset as distraught or distracted. And the fifth, this is the fifth one, and then we will go to sixth one. What is that? Mahaggatang va chittang, mahaggatan chittanti pajanati. Amahaggatan va chittang, amahaggatan chittanti pajanati. That is the sixth pair. So what is that? It says in this way, this is the fifth pair, fifth pair, not the sixth pair, fifth pair. Mahagata means extended or extensive, lofty. So meditator understands that extensive mindset as extensive, or we can say he understands that lofty mindset as lofty, extensive, or we can say exalted mind, great enlarged mind, or what are they? Jhana mind, right? It will come. And amahagatang va chittang, amahagatan chittanti pajanati. What is that? Amahagata means, so then non-extensive or non-enlarged mind, non-lofty. So then he understands, meditator understands that non-lofty or non-extensive mindset as non-extensive. And let's move to the sixth pair. So sixth pair, it says in this way, Sauttarang va chittang, Sauttarang chittanti pajanati. You can say Sauttarang also. Sauttarang, actually really pronunciation is Sauttarang, not Sauttarang, Sauttarang. Sauttarang va chittang, Sauttarang chittanti pajanati. Here Uttara mean, Uttara mean surpassed or crossed. So sa uttarang, that is the sa uttarang. So then we can say meditator understands that surpassable mindset as surpassable. And again, the second sentence, anuttarang va chittang, anuttarang chittanti pajanati. Anuttara means unsurpassable or next level, right? Sorry, not the next level. That is the unsurpassable. Meditator understand that unsurpassable mind as unsurpassable. Amahagata. Mahagata means the jhana mind. Amahagata means not the jhana mind. That's the meaning. And we will move to the seventh pair. Samahitang va chittang, samahitang chittanti pajanati. What is that? Samahita means concentrated minds. Concentrated mindset as concentrated. So meditator understands that concentrated mindset as concentrated. And asamahitang va chittang, asamahitan chittanti pajanati. Asamahita means then non-concentrated. So unconcentrated. So he understands that unconcentrated mindset as unconcentrated. everything are explained in the Atthakatha, so then we can go there after the 8th pair. So what is the 8th pair? It says Vimuttam va chittam vimuttam chittanti pachanati. Here you need to understand this vimutta means not the supramundane vimutta. Here or everything with the mention for the meditator to practice. So therefore those are the mundane mindsets only here. So not the supramundane mindset. Supramundane mind also you have vimutta. So for example, magga mind, phala mind, those are the vimutta. But Buddha never mentioned Buddha's intention is not to the supramundane mindsets here. These are the mundane minds, mundane consciousness. So vimuttang va chittang vimuttan chittanti pajanati. Vimutta means liberated. So he meditator understands that liberated mindset as liberated. And avimuttan chittang va avimuttan chittanti pajanati. Avimutta means, so therefore non-liberated, unliberated, sorry. So meditator understands that unliberated mindset as unliberated. So those are the 16 mindsets, therefore eight pairs. So you have 16 mindsets. So all 16 mindsets, you need to understand here, those are not the supramundane minds or the consciousnesses, though every minds are here emphasizing the mundane. So you need to know your how mundane minds, how many mundane minds, and how you want to discern this kind of mundane minds. So here discernment, and after discernment only you can do the vipassana. Okay, now let's move to then it has here. Let's see. Iti ajattam chitte chittanupassī virati bahiddhava chitte chittanupassī virati ajat bahiddhava chitte chittanupassī virati. This is the nama rupa paricheda jnana. So therefore, before going to there, we need to discuss those 16 kind of mundane minds. Okay, let's move to our Atthakatha. Right? Atthakatha, and we need sometimes Tika also, Mr. Pankaj. Okay, but now let's move to Atthakatha. Evam navavidena vedanānupassana satipatthānam kathitva idani solas vidhena chittānupassanam kathitum kathancha bhikkhaveti adimaha. What does it mean? So, in this way, after expounding, after preaching ninefolds Vedanānupassana, we finish ninefolds Vedanānupassana. And now, in order to teach Solas, 16, right? 16 kinds of contemplation of the consciousness. Solas Videna Chittānupassanam Kathetum. The Buddha, so therefore Buddha says, Kathancha bhikkhave adima. Buddha pointed out his Dhammatalk as Kathancha bhikkhave, so on passage. So we finish. Kathancha means how does a bhikkhu, like that it started by the Buddha in the case of the Desana Pali or his Dhammatalk. Tattha Saraganti. What is this tattva mean in this Vedanānupassana? Saraganti. Saraga means, or Saraga stands for Lokiya, Attavida Loba Sahagatan. What is this Saragang? Saragang mean Attavida Loba Sahagatan. The 8 kinds of greed-rooted mindsets. So let's move to those kind of mindsets. Saragang means 8 kind of greed-rooted mindsets. That consciousnesses you can see in the beginning, from the starting point, you can see 89 or 121 chittas you have. 89 mean in brief method. 121 is the expanded method, extended method, so then or the detailed method, but we are here to learn 89 kind of. Oh, sorry, we are here actually to 121, right? Because it says the Mahagata Chitta or the Arupa Jhana, Rupa Jhana also. Okay, now what is the Saraga? Saraga mean you can see in the left side, you can see 12 akusala chittas, 12 unwholesome consciousnesses, 12 unwholesome consciousnesses. What are they? You have 12, this is the way it categorized by the Buddha, classified by the Buddha. So 8 lobha chittas. What is the meaning? 8 kinds of greed rooted consciousnesses, right? 8 kind of greed rooted consciousnesses. So what are they? Then go to the second slide. 8 kind of greed rooted. Here, 2 kinds of dosa mula and 2 kinds of moha mula also. So what are the 8 kinds of again go to the 8 kinds of rooted. This is rooted mean what rooted? Greed rooted, or craving rooted. Lobha mula mean rooted, and lobha mean the greed or whatever the similar meaning, craving or something like that. And you have 8 kinds of. So what are they? The first one is Somanasa Sahagata, right? Somanasa plus Somanasa means Somanasa Sahagata. And that the plus, and then you have another diacritic mark, right? That maybe it is arrow or something like that. Yeah, arrow ditti. Ditti sampayutta, right? Arrow ditti mean ditti sampayutta. Somanasa Sahagata, dittigata sampayutta, asankharika. So what is the meaning? The consciousness associated with the somanasa, pleasure, right? Pleasure, and or the happiness, associated with the happiness, and dittigata sampayukta, accompanied by the wrong view, asankarika. It is non-prompted, no any influence, not influence. It is not influenced. So that is the mind. But so the consciousness accompanied by happiness and associated with wrong view, non-prompted. That is the first mindset according to the Lobha Mula. And the second mind, Somanasa Sahagata, plus means Sahagata, right? Somanasa Sahagata, Dittigata Samyukta Sasankarika. Now the change is Sasankarika. That means the mind accompanied by the happiness or the pleasure and accompanied associated with the wrong view, right? Wrong view, it is prompted by somebody or himself. And the third one, Somanasa Sahagata, Dittigata Vipayukta, then minus, right? Minus mean Vipayukta, that means not associated with the wrong view. So Somanasa Sahagata, the mind which is associated with the happiness and not accompanied with michaditi or the wrong view, and asankarika. Asankarika means not prompted. It's not prompted. And the fourth one, somanasa sahagata, dittigata vipayutta. Vipayutta means not associated with sasankarika means, non-prompted. Sorry, prompted. And here I want to explain in this, the mindset which is accompanied by the happiness and not associated with the wrong view, prompted. So those are the minds. So then same as now this is the somanasa sahagata. Somanasa sahagata mean those all kinds of mindsets are associated with the happiness or the pleasure, or we can say pleasant feeling. It has pleasant feeling. Now we came into the neutral feeling mindsets, 4 kinds of neutral feeling mindsets. So upekka sahagata. Upekka sahagata mean that is the neutral, right? Or we can say indifferent mindsets. Those are the. So upekka sahagata dittigata sampayukta, right? That arrow indicates the sampayukta. Sampayukta means the associated with. So upekka sahagata dittigata sampayukta asankarika. So what is the meaning? The mind which is indifferent, and associated with micha ditti or the wrong view, non-prompted. Same mindset if it is prompted, the second one, right? Upekka sagata dittigata vipayuta sasankarika, prompted. And the other seventh mind, upekka sahagata dittigata vipayuta sasankara or asankarika. What is the meaning? The indifferent mindset which is associated with which is not associated with the wrong view, and prompted, non-prompted. And the eighth one, same mindset as prompted. So then you have pleasure, or we can say that is the pleasurable mindsets, 4 kinds of pleasurable mindsets, as well as 4 kinds of indifferent mindsets, or upekka. Those are the saraga mean associated with the greed rooted. For example, let's move. We will discuss about the first consciousness, somanasa sahagata dittigata sampayukta asankarika mind. So what is the meaning? Meaning mean how you want to explain this mind in this way. So this somanasa sahagata mean, associated with the accompanied by the pleasure, and dittigata sampayukta mean, ditti or the wrong view is accompanied by, and asankarika mean that is the non-prompted. So non-prompted mean not associated with the sloth and torpor, thina midda, not associated. Asankarika mean not associated, sasankarika mean associated with the we can say stricken by the sloth and torpor, sasankarika, stricken by. So sloth and torpor, stricken, and the asankarika mean sloth and torpor, unstricken. Anyway, try to understand those mindsets. And now, what is this greed rooted mean? How you want to understand greed rooted? So somanasa sahagata mean, now you know. Let's see how many mental factors in this mind. So the first mind we are discussing. So every mind you have sabbhachitta sadharana chetasika. What are the sabbhachitta sadharana chetasika? Okay, good. And sabbhachitta sadharana chetasika mean maybe next the other one, right? This is also same mind. Those are the sabbhachitta sadharana, right? You can see here sabbhachitta sadharana, 7 universals. So passa vedana sanya chetana. So passa means the contact mental factor, and feeling vedana perception, sanya and volition is the chetana. And then you have again passa vedana sanya chetana ekaggata, one fineness, and jivitindriya, life faculty, and manasikara, attention. So those are the 7 kind of chetasika. Those 7 kind of chetasika, or the mental factor, you have in that first mind. And again, from the pakinaka, or the 6 that sundries, or we can say that is the pakinaka, or the miscellaneous. So how many miscellaneous chetasika, or the mental factors? You have 6 kind of. So what are they? Vitakka, this is the initial application, and vichara, sustained application, and adhimukha, decision, mind mental factor, and energy, virya, or effort, any a similar word you can apply here. And joy, piti, right? Piti is the joy, and then chanda is the desire. So those are the 6 kind of mental factors in the miscellaneous side. That means those are either wholesome mindsets as well as either wholesome mindsets or unwholesome mindsets. But some minds, some mental factor, for example, in the case of 14 unwholesome mental factors, right? The second square, you have 14 unwholesome. It goes only the unwholesome mindsets only. And then 25 beautiful mindsets, mental factors in the third square. You have 20 kinds of, right? 20 kinds of 25, right? 25 kinds of. So those are only in the wholesome mindsets, not in unwholesome mindset. But these 6 kind of sundries or the miscellaneous, you can see, you can see in both wholesome as well as unwholesome. Not only that mundane, even in the case of, you have, in the case of the supramundane minds also, consciousnesses also, you can see those sun rays. So therefore, that's the miscellaneous there. Therefore, so when we go to that mind means somanas sagata, the mind associated, mind accompanied by the pleasure, and associated with the wrong view and unprompted. So what is the chetasika? So you have 7 kind of all universals, right? And then from the sun rays, you have everything. Every sun rays then goes to every sun rays then go towards the that mind, right? Every sun ray. So then now you have all 7 kind of and 6 kind of. And again, you have here in all akusala mind, all the unwholesome mindsets, you have this four. This four mean, that is what is called moha chatuk. The fourfold moha, fourfold moha, or the delusion rooted fourfold moha mental factor. What are they? Those are these things. Moha, ahirika, anotatta, uddacha. Right? Moha mean the delusion, and then conscientiousness, right? Conscientiousness is the other anotapta, or we can say this is the shamelessness, and then anotapta, fearlessness, and uddacha, restlessness or agitation, right? Agitation. So agitation and fearlessness, shamelessness, and delusion are the moha chatuka. This moha chatuka is you can see in every akusala mind. Even in dosa mind, or the hatred mindset, or in moha mindset, lobha mindset, or the greed mindset, everywhere you can see this moha chatuka. So therefore, this is the moha, ahirika, anuttatta, uddacha, or the delusion, shamelessness, fearlessness, and restlessness, or the agitation in the mind. So this thing, again, it comes, those comes to our greed rooted mind, right? The first mindset. And again, so then how many? Then 7, 6, 13, and here 4, 17 now. And then it again, because it is greed rooted, so therefore lobha, or the craving comes, or the greed comes, and again michaditi. Michaditi mean the wrong view comes, right? Dosa chatuska, and again moha chatuska, and maybe another akusala mindsets. Lobha and dosa, right? Lobha and dosa. Okay, this thing. Lobha, not the dosa, loba and wrong view. So how many you have with the loba or the greed, you have 19 kind of mental factors in the first mindset in the akusala. So therefore it includes greed. So therefore it is what is called greed rooted. Greed rooted. Okay, now let's move our attakatha again, right? Greed rooted mindsets. So you need to discern every greed rooted mindsets, 8 kind of greed rooted mindsets in the case of nama paricheda jnana. What is the nama paricheda jnana? Mentality meditation, right? Mentality meditation. You need to discern every 12 akusala mind or the unwholesome mindsets. Here it mentioned 8 kind of lobha mula or the greed rooted. Okay, we will see the other thing in the Attakatha. So Vitaragang. Now Saragang mean that Atta with the Lobha Sahagata, 8 kind of greed rooted mindsets. Now here Vitaraga. Vitaragang ti Lokiya Kusalabhya Katang. Kusalabhya Katang. Lokiya mean, Lokiya mean Vitaraga mean minds free from lust. So in the case of if you understand that mind free from lust mean, here it says Lokiya. Why Lokiya? Mundane only, because Buddha doesn't mention to the meditator. Still the meditation doesn't attain to the nibbana. So therefore Buddha mentioned only to discern these consciousnesses, discern only. After discerning, and if you practice vipassana, then only you can see the nibbana. So then supramundane minds or the consciousness come. And here it says Lokiya Kusala Abhyakata. What is that? Kusala mean, wholesome mindsets. Wholesome mindsets are the Kusala. Abhyakata mean it has not mentioned actually. Abhyakata mean it has not related to the Kusala or the Akusala. Right? Kusala or the Akusala. Then it is what is called Abhyakata. What are they? Abhyakata mean resultant minds. Resultant minds and functional minds are what is called Abhyakata. Abhyakata. So then how many? 3 kinds of mindsets. Lokiya, mundane kusala, mundane wholesome mindsets, and mundane Lokiya kusala and Lokiya Abhyakata. Abhyakata has two types. The first one is resultant, other one is the functional. So Lokiya functional or the mundane functional and mundane resultant. Lokiya Kusala Abhyakata. Okay, Kusala. This is the Kusala, right? Maha Kusala. Sobana Kama Vachara. Or we can say those are the beautiful mindsets. Kama Vachara mean in the sensual plane, right? Sensual plane. Or in the Kama Vachara minds, 24 types of Kamavachara mindsets you have Kusala side. So out of that, you have Mahakusala, that means Kusala, Vipaka, and Kirya. You can see Kusala, Vipaka, and Kirya categorized by the Buddha in this way. So Mahakusala means great wholesome. 8 kind of great wholesome, 8 kind of Mahavipaka, great resultant, and 8 kind of great Mahakirya. Kirya mean functional to the Arahant only, right? Those Kirya minds are the for the Arahant only. Other, so therefore you can't discern these Arahant mindsets, and you want to discern these 16, right? This initial 16 mindsets you need to discern. That's the understanding. This otherwise Buddha never told to you to this Cittanānupassanā. You must discern. So how you want to discern? First you want to understand those kind of mind, and then you need to create minds, right? Create these wholesome minds and the vipaka mind or the resultant mind. You need to create. So how you need to create, I explain in this Kayanupassana section. After you can see our Anapana Pabba, I explain many times how to create mindsets. Okay, now Somanas, the let's move to our Maha Kusala mind, right? Great wholesome. So you know now this plus mark is Sahagata, so accompanied by, right? And then that mark, right? Another mark, another diacritic mark like going forward, right? Jnana Sampayukta. This is the Jnana Sampayukta and Asankarika. What is the meaning? Somanas Sahagata, Jnana Sampayukta, Asankarika. The consciousness accompanied by the pleasure and associated with the wisdom, jnana, right? Wisdom and asankarika. Asankarika means not prompted. It's not prompted. And same mindset, somana sagata, jnana sampayukta, sasankarika. Sasankarika means, prompted. But here, if you have sasankarika or asankarika, no mental factor changes. Same mental factors. Here, this also you have somanasa, 4 mindsets for the somanasa, but somanasa in the third mind you can see jnana minus jnana. That means it is not associated with the wisdom or insight, knowledge. You don't have insight or the wisdom or some knowledge you don't have at that time. So that is also prompted and non-prompted. And the third, fifth one, upekka, indifference minds. You have indifferent 4 minds in the kusala side. Okay. Upekka. You have now fifth mind is the upekka, indifferent mind. So the indifferent mind that is associated with the wisdom and non-prompted. That is the fifth mind. And sixth mind, indifferent mind, which is associated with the wisdom and sasankarika, prompted. It is influenced. And the seventh one, you can see upekka plus upekka, that means indifference mind, and no jnana, minus jnana, right? Jnana minus. So that means not associated with the wisdom, and asankarika, that means prompted, and the same mindset as sasankarika, not prompted. Sorry, prompted is the 8th one, and the 6th one, asankarika, means not prompted. So those are the kusala mind. That means you accumulate these kind of kusala mind while doing, let's say, while protecting your panchasila or whatever your sila or the maradidi. And when you give dana or something, some offering, or if you pay respect to the Buddha like a pagoda or something like that, then those minds arise in you. Now vipaka, recitant, abhyakata, right? Kusala abhyakata. Vipaka are the same minds, right? Same mind mean name are the same, but it is the result, right? Not the accumulation, not the wholesome. It is result. It will be result, right? It will give the result to you. If you accumulated the Maha Kusala or the great wholesome, then according to that, the result come. So that is, therefore, it is what's called resultant. And I told that great functional mindsets are to the Arahant, same minds, right? Same named. Okay, those are the Kusala, mundane Kusala, mundane wholesome, mundane resultant, mundane function. Right? Those are the, so therefore vitaraga mean those are the thing. But here I told you this great functional mindsets we cannot discern. So the first 2 sets, right? First 2 sets we need to discern Maha Kusala, Maha Vipaka. right? So therefore, it mentioned in this way in the Atthakatha. It mentioned. So therefore, how vitaraganti lokiya kusala abhyakatan idam pana yasma sammasanam na dhamma samodanam tasma ida ekapadepi lokutrang na labhati. And that's very important to you. Now we discuss those things that in the case of saraga and vitaraga, greed minds and without greed. Actually, if it is say without greed, right? Without greed, here it says itang pana yasma sammasanang na dhamma samodana. So sammasanang mean what is idang pana in this case. The sammasanang mean actually when you practice vipassana, right? When you practice vipassana, or when you discern this mundane mindsets. So na dhamma samodhana mean, that is the dhamma samodhana mean it is like not as a whole, right? Dhamma samodhana mean as a whole. Na dhamma samodhana mean not as a whole, not as a whole with the associated mental factors. So when you discern this mind, and when you practice vipassana, right? Sammasana mean that's the thing. When you practice vipassana, and you need to emphasize minds only in the mind movement, mind only. No, you are not emphasizing your other mental factors. Only mind, right? That is that it says. Therefore, in this in the sammasana jnana stage, right? In the sammasana jnana stage, this contemplation, idam sammasanam mean that is the meaning. This contemplation of consciousness as consciousness is practiced by, sammasanam mean by careful examination repeatedly. Careful, we can say careful sifting repeatedly as impermanence and suffering and non-self, like you want to do the vipassana in this way. I told in the case of kayanupassana and vedananupassana. So when you practice vipassana, this vedananupassana is not as whole with the other associated mental factors, but only the consciousness you need to consider or emphasize here. So there is no any supramundane consciousness is found out here. That's the meaning. Therefore, it says, tasma id ekapadepi lokutrang na labhati. So you can't find out any lokutra mind states. That's the meaning. Because you are still practicing vipassana, and then you didn't attain to the magga and phala. So you don't have any lokutra mindsets. That's the meaning. Okay, and it says again, Sesani chattari akusala chittani. So now, Sesani chattari akusala chittani mean how many akusala minds or the unwholesome mindsets. How many? 12. So out of 12, if we count this saraga as 8, right? 8 mindsets, then you have a rest of 4. So they are going to explain what is this rest of 4. So sesani chattari akusala chittani, that means the rest of 4 mindsets of the unwholesome side, neva purima padang na pachima padang bhajanti. Purima padang mean the purima pada is lustful and pachima pada is free from lustful. Or saraga is the purima pada and the vitaraga is the pachima pada. Purima pada means the first term, and the paschima pada is the later term, right? So so we can say other four kinds of, right? Other four kinds of unwholesome consciousnesses are not related to the lustful or free from lustful mindsets. So that because it is not related, that's the thing. Saragang and Vitaragang, only you have Saragan to the 8 kind of akusala minds, and Vitaraga mean wholesome, resultant, and the functional mindsets. And therefore, among the unwholesome mindsets, the other 4, that means 2 greed rooted and 2 delusion rooted, are not included here. That's the meaning. Okay, let's move to the second pair, explaining second pair. So sadosanti. Now, sadosanti duvidha domanasa sahagatang. What is the sadosa? Duvidha domanasa sahagatang. Vita dosa. What is vita dosa? What is sadosa mean? That is the mind associated with the hate mindset. And Vita dosa mean free from hatred, right? Free from hatred. Those are the lokiya kusalabhya katang. Those are also. So the out of the the 2 kinds of dosa or the hatred mindsets, other Vita dosa mean you don't have you can't find out any dosa or the hatred mental factor there. So those are the lokiya, mundane, kusala, mundane, wholesome, and lokiya abhyakata. Lokiya abhyakata mean, abhyakata mean 2 types, resultant and the functional. So then we discuss those resultant and the functional mindsets, and let's move to sadosa mind in the chitta chart. Sadosa mind. Okay. So those are the 2 kinds of sadosa mind. You can see in the very left side, you can see 2 kinds of domanasa or the dosa mula. That means hatred rooted, right? Hatred rooted. You can see 2 kinds of. Out of the 12, only you have dosa mula 2 kinds of. So domanasa sahagata, plus means sahagata, that means accompanied by the domanasa or the grief, right? Grief or the displeasure. So associated with the displeasure and patiga sampayutta. This arrow indicates the sampayutta. That means patiga mean, that is the domanasa mean, that is the we can say the mind. Dominance mean we can say that is the mind grief, displeasure, and fatigue samprayukta. Fatigue samprayukta mean rooted in hatred, right? Rooted in hatred. Fatigue samprayukta asankarika. Asankarika mean non-prompted. It's not prompted. So that mean not prompted mean thinamida unstricken. No thinamida at all. And domanasa, sasankarika mean associated with the tinamidda. So that's the meaning. So domanasa plus domanasa mean that is accompanied the mind associated with the domanasa, and patiga sampayutta again rooted with hatred, and sasankarika, that means prompted. So those are the domanasa mindsets, right? Domanasa mindsets. There you have dosa or the hatred as well as moha, right? Moha also you have, because I told as in the lobamul also you have moha chatukka mean moha or the delusion, and shamelessness, fearlessness, and the agitation, right? So those 4 kinds of are everywhere in the akusala mind, so the unwholesome mindsets. So here also you have dosa as well as moha. So therefore rooted, right? Root mean, root mean 6 kind of root. Here akusala root only. Akusala root 3 kinds of. Loba, dosa, moha, right? Loba, dosa, moha. Loba mean the craving or the greed, and the dosa mean the hatred or the aversion, and the moha mean, delusion rooted or ignorance rooted or illusion rooted. Any name you can take in related with the meaning. Okay, now let's move to again to the our Atthakatha. Again to the our Atthakatha. It says, so Vita dosa mean, we discussed Vita dosa mean, those are the kusala, wholesome kusala, wholesome, mundane wholesome, and mundane resultant. We saw those kind of mindsets, and mundane functional, but you don't need to discern mundane functional in this Buddha's Dhammadeshana. And Sesani dasa akusala chittani neva purima padang na pachima padang bhajanti. Now, if you here you have 12 kinds of akusala or the unwholesome mindsets, and if you we are relating these two those mindsets or the greed rooted mindset, then you have 10 kinds of akusala minds or the unwholesomes. So those kinds of 10 Lobhamula 8 and the Mohamula 2 kinds. So those are Neva Purima Padang Na Pachima Padang Bhajanti. So they are not related to the they are neither related to the Purima Pada or the Sadosa, right? Sadosa, and Sadosa mean associated with the hatred, and Na Pachima Pada. Pachima Pada mean, that is the Vita dosa. Vita dosa. So then Vita dosa mean without all the free from hatred. So free from hatred mindsets and other sadosa mindsets other 10 kinds of akusala minds and this other 10 kinds of akusala mind is not associated, not related to the sadosa or the vita dosa, or we can say sadosa mean the associated with the hatred and without hatred also. They are not related. That's the meaning. Okay, now samohanti. What is the samohanti? Samohanti vichikicha sahagatan cheva uddacha sahagatan chati duvida. Samoha means the minds with delusion. Mind associated with the delusion. If the mind associated with the delusion, then it is what is called samoha. Right? Moha means the delusion. So therefore, samoha means vichikicha sahagata. The one mindset is vichikicha, associated with that is also indifferent mindsets, right? Indifferent mindsets associated with the vichikicha, or the doubt, or the skepticism in your mind. And uddacha sahagata, as well, uddacha, agitation, right? So associated with the uddacha, indifferent mind associated with the uddacha or the agitation, those are the two kinds of mindsets belongs to the samoha or the minds with delusion. Okay, let's move to there. You can see in the chitta chart. Okay, the last out of the 12, you can see this last two delusion rooted moha mula and upekka sahagata. This is the indifferent mindset, and vichikicha upekka sahagata, vichikicha sampayukta. Sampayukta mean associated with. So vichikicha mean doubt. And upekka sahagata, again the mindsets is the indifferent, and uddacha sahagata, associated with the agitation. So how many then? Altogether, you have two kinds of mohamula, right? Mohamula, samoha means those two kinds of mohamula mindsets. Okay. And then again, let's move to our Atthakatha. Atthakatha says this way: Yasma pana moho sabba kusalesu Sabba kusala mean not the kusala, right? Sabba akusala. Sabba plus akusala becomes sabba kusala, right? Sabba kusala. A sound. Sabba, not sabba kusala, right? If it says sabba kusala, all kusala minds. Here sabba kusala, right? Sabba kusala mean all akusala minds. So moho, this moha is associated with the um, every akusala minds. I told this moha chatuka, moha ahirika, anotata uddachalaika, moha chatuka, or the fourfold moha mental factors are associated with all mindsets in the unwholesome. So therefore, it says yasmapana moho sabba kusalesu pachati tasma sesanipi idda vattati eva. Now it says in this way. Now actually, here this so this moha, right? Moha is associated with the other every akusala minds or the unwholesome mindsets. Tasma sesanipi idda vattati eva. If you include actually samoha mean other 10 kinds of minds also you can, if you discern here, it's not a problem. That's the meaning. That means if Buddha says moha, all akusala minds you need to discern, right? You need to discern. Then let's move. Imasmin eva hi duke dwadasa kusala chittani parya dinnaniti. And now imasmin yeva he duke. He mean indeed, it is the emphasizing preposition, right? Emphasizing preposition. And imasmin eva duke. This pair. This pair means samoha and the vitamoha, right? Samoha and the vitamoha. Imasmin eva duke. Yeah, imasmin eva duke mean, yeah, samoha and the vitamoha. Mind associated with the delusion, and mind free from duke dwadasa akusala chittani paryadinnani mean included. So then other kinds of all 12 kinds of akusala minds you need to discern. That's the meaning, right? You need to discern every akusala minds in this pair. So Vitamohanti kusala lokiya kusalabhya katan. What is the Vitamoha? Vitamoha means without mind free from delusion. So what are they? Lokiya kusala. So as discussed, we discussed there. Lokiya kusala mean mundane, wholesome minds, 8 kind of. And then Lokiya abhyakata. Abhyakata you have 2 types, resultant as well as functional. Then I told you mundane resultant you can discern, but mundane functional mindsets you can. So then in this way we need to understand and discern. And let's move to the fourth pair. Sankittanti tina middhanupatitam. What is the Sankitta mean? Sankitta mean tina middhanupatitam. Right? Tina middhanupatitam. Tina midda anupatita mean it is actually Sankitta mean it's stricken by the tina midda. Tina midda stricken. So that's the meaning. Before that, I will tell some information to you, right? Some information mean, so for example, what are those kusala mind, or if you have anger, or if you have greed, so what happened? So if you are angry, if you were angry with a man or woman, then when you see that person again, then what happened? Sometimes you might get angry again, spontaneously. So that in that case, there arise asankarika mindsets, right? That means you have two hated mindsets, and one is asankarika, other one is the sasankarika. That means one is prompted and other one is not prompted. So if you were angry, right? If you were angry with somebody person, and if you see again him or her, then sometimes you might get angry again spontaneously. But sometimes uh, sometimes you meet when you meet again that person, and you don't get angry spontaneously, but sometimes spontaneously you do not get the angry, but you yourself again and again thinking, and then you yourself prompted, or you are prompted by the others. So at that time, what happened? Your dosa mind arises in you. That is accompanied by the grief and associated with the, or we can say that is the rooted in hatred, right? Rooted in hatred. So in that way, those kind of mindset arise in you, and so you need to actually get into the mind in this way, that how to it become prompted and non-prompted. And again, what are the mundane wholesome consciousness? How you develop mundane wholesome consciousness? Lokiya kusala. So, for example, when you pay respect to the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha, when you go to the pagoda or somewhere, Bodhi tree or somewhere in Mahabodhi tree in India, or some right branch in Sri Lanka, or wherever, if you see the pagoda and if you pay respect, then your mundane wholesome minds arise in you, and that is sensual, right? Sensual plane. And when you offer foreign visits to the monk, then your mundane wholesome mindset arise. And again, when you undertake the seal or the your virtue, and you try to purify again and again, then again wholesome mindset arise in you. And now in the jhanic people also know this thing. And when if you practice jhana, and before attaining the jhana, you have access concentration, upachara samadhi. This upachara samadhi is also mundane wholesome mindset, right? Not the fine material jhana. So therefore, before attaining jhana also, in the case of access concentration, there arises wholesome mind. So in this way, you need to understand what are the wholesome minds. Now, we let's move to our Attakatha. Attakatha. Again, it says, so Sankittanti Tinimiddanu Patita. Right? Tinamiddanu Patitang means sometimes here, when you if somebody says you to do some to do or with deal with the hated object, then your mind sometimes constrict, right? Or shrink. Your mind sometimes shrink, more or less. Your mind shrink, or usually shrink, because you are not ready to do some harmful thing to the others. So but if somebody prompted, what happened? Then your thina midda, right? Thina midda comes into your mind. That therefore it is what you call Thinamiddhanupatita, right? Thinamiddhanupatita, fall into the Thinamidda or Thinamidda stricken. So that's the meaning. And etang hi sankutita chittang nama. Kuchita, right? Not sankutita. It should be sankuchita, right? Sankuchita. Sankuchita mind. Sankuchita means shriveled up mind or constricted mind or shrunken mind, contracted mind. Vikitanti. What is the meaning of vikitang? Vikitanti uddacha sahagatam. What is the meaning of vikita? Vikita means, that is the mind with distracted, right? Distracted. Now, distracted mind. So, distracted mind is the uddacha sagata. Distracted mind means mental um, mental state accompanied by agitation. That is the uddacha sagata, mental state that is accompanied by the agitation. Etang hi pasata chittang nama. Again, they are giving another name. They have given another name. Etang. Etang means that uddacha sagata mind or the agitation mind. Pasata chittang nama. It is what is called pasata chitta. Pasata mean actually it is the meaning of scattered mind or strewn mind, we can say, right? Pasata. That's the meaning, right? Pasata, strewn. It is scattered mind. Now let's move to another pair. Mahaggatang, amahaggatang. Right? Mahaggatanti rupavacharam. Here they ask you, Buddha asks you to discern, right? Not to just understand. You need to discern in the meditation, right? Mahagatanti rupavacharam. Rupavacharam means rupa arupavacharam, right? Rupa plus arupavacharam. That means fine material and immaterial plane mindsets are what is called rupavacharam. Rupavacharam, right? That means rupa and arupa. So that is the meaning of mahagata, extended. What is the meaning of extended mind? Extended mind mean exalted mind, fifth pair, and those are the fine material realms and immaterial realms mindsets are the mahagata. Those are also rooted, you have rupavachara, or the fine material mind, kusala, vipaka, and kriya. Every mind, usually Buddha mentioned in this way, right? Not every mind, most of the mind. Like kusala mean the wholesome, right? Wholesome, the first jhana mind, right? Vitakka, vichara, priti, sukha, ekaggata, so called first jhana mind, or initial application, sustained application, joy, happiness, and the one-finerness, so called first jhana mind, right? In the same way, without vichara, vitakka, or the initial application, second jhana mind. And without having both of them, third jhana mind. That means piti sukha ekaggata, right? And then fourth jhana mind, sukha ekaggata. And then fifth jhana mind, ekaggata upekka, right? Upekka ekaggata, fifth jhana mind. So vipaka also, vipaka, if you can create this mind here, produce this mind here, this all kind of five you can create here. And vipaka mean when you about to die, right? About to die, if you attain to such kind of jhana, and you will reborn in the relevant plane of existence in the rupavachara real realm. So then that realms. So if you reborn there, your vipaka mindsets are developed. That's the same vipaka. First jhana, second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana, and the fifth jhana. And if you attain to the arahantship in this very life or whatever the life, if you produce this kind of up to fifth jhana, then they automatically become first jhana kriya, functional. That means when if you produce this before arahantship, and those are the kusala mind. And if you attain to the first jhana after attaining the arahantship, then it becomes functional. No any seeds remaining to the next birth. That's the functional, right? Only the performance only. No any accumulation of the kusala or the akusala. That's the meaning. Okay, and then arupa avachara, right? Rupa and arupa. Therefore, it is what you call rupa avachara, right? Rupa avachara. Okay, now how many minds in the arupa avachara or the immaterial realm? You have 12 mindsets. That realms. So what are they? You can see those are the kusala, vipaka, and kriya again, right? Wholesome, resultant, and the functional mindsets. Four sets of three. So what are they? Akasananchayatan jhana. That means the base of boundless space, and the Vijnananchayatan, base of boundless consciousness, and the base of nothingness is the third mind, Akinchanyayatana jhana. And the base of neither perception nor non-perception is the fourth jhana. So then you can develop this jhana, you can reproduce this jhana in this very life, and then that is the kusala. And if you attain to that mind on the verge of death, then what happened? You reborn there, but Buddha said to you, don't reborn there, right? Their lifespan is very high. So then you never, if you produce this jhana very fine and very peaceful. So then you can not only that is the vipassana object, right? Object of vipassana, that is the sammasana chara. This is what is called Buddha called sammasana chara. Sammasana chara means you can do vipassana based on that. That is the sammasana chara. So then therefore you need to if you can attain to eight attainment or the immaterial jhana also, that's good, and that's good for you. And so vipaka mean, now kriya mean when you attain arahantship, and before arahantship, if you produce these kind of mindsets of the jhana mindsets, and if you attain to that relevant jhana, and automatically it become functional. Now functional meaning is it doesn't remain any seeds towards the another life. That's the meaning. Anagata life or the future life, it doesn't give any seeds. It just only performance. So that is what's called functional, right? Okay, now let's move again to our Attakatha. So now what is the Rupavachara and Arupavachara. Buddha mentioned to you, you need to discern. That's why Buddha mentioned these things, right? Every Dhammadesana is a meditation subject, right? Buddha mentioned in this, every Dhammadesana is the meditation subject. So therefore, you need to discern. Discern first and then get the Vipassana. And Amahagatang. What is the Amahagatang? Amahagatanti Kamavachara. So Kamavachara Kusala mind, especially, right? Kusala, Vipaka, and Kiriya are the Amahagat, right? Amahagat. And Sautranti, Kamavacharang. What is this meaning of Sauttara? Surpassable, right? Surpassable mind. What is the surpassable mind? Surpassable mind is okay. Before that, what is this? Let's move to Tika. To Tika, what is this Mahagata? Meaning of Mahagata, right? Exalted mind or the expanded mind, we can say extensive mind. What is the meaning of there? Kilesa Vikambana Samattataya Vipulataaya cha Diga Santanataya cha Mahanta Bhavangatang Mahanteviva Ulara Chandadihi Gatang Patipannanti Mahagatang. Why those kind of mindsets are called Mahagata? Kilesa Vikambana Samattataya cha Vipulataya cha Diga Santanataya cha Mahagata Bhavangatang. Because of the ability of suppressing of defilement, right? Kilesa vikambana samasataya. Vikambana means suppressing. So because of the ability of the suppressing of the defilement, that means while the jhana attainment, right? While the jhana attainment, fine material or immaterial. And if you maintain the jhana up to the death, mind movement, right? Diga santanataya, right? Diga santanataya. If you maintain the jhana up to the death mind movement, and vipula palataya, sorry, not vipulataya, vipula palataya. Vipula palataya means if you maintain this jhana mind movement up to death, and then the jhana will give you its results. I told before also. It gives results in the fine material or immaterial realms, planes. So that is vipula pala. Pala mean the result, right? Vipula mean great, right? Great result. It gives the great result. So therefore, it is what is called mahagata, right? Mahagata. And diga santanataya mean if you produce jhana and they are you can attain to jhana time to time. That means up to lifespan you can attain to the jhana. So therefore, it is what is called diga santanataya. It lasts long in your mind. So they are called mahagata, right? Mahagata. Okay, and then again let's move to our Atthakatha. Atthakatha amahagatanti kamavachara. Now sa-uttaran. What is the sa-uttara? Amahagata mean, amahagata mean we discuss those things. Amahagata mean when you do, for example, when you do dana or when you perform your sila well, so on wholesome, right? Some wholesome deeds, and doing some anusati meditation like Buddha anusati, like meditation, and then discerning the object of vipassana, right? Discerning the object of vipassana. That means in the case of nama rupa paricheda jnana and the paccaya parigraha jnana stage, then you can create Fido and then actually while discerning the object of vipassana, if you create Fido and Mindo mental processes, those are wholesome, right? Wholesome. But actually, those are not like exalted, right? Not like jhana minds. So therefore, it is what is called unexalted or amahagata minds, right? Amahagata minds. That's the meaning. Okay, so therefore, it is called in this way. Okay, let's move to our Atthakatha again. Commentary. Sautranti Kamavacharam. What is the meaning of surpassable minds? Six pair, right? Six pair. What is the meaning of surpassable mind? That is the any mind, any consciousness states belonging to the sensual existence, or we can say sensual planes. So what is called sa-uttara, right? Sa-uttara. Anuttaranti rupavacharam arupavacharam. What is the anuttaram? Unsurpassable mind, or the next level, right? Next level mindsets, or those are the, what we discuss about the rupavachara and the arupavachara, fine material and the immaterial jhana minds, right? Jhana minds. So that is therefore it is what is called in this way. And again, tatrapi, right? Tatrapi sa-uttarang rupavacharang anuttarang arupavacharang. In the case of anuttara, if we say anuttara, right? No, sorry. In the case of if you considered in this way also, it is correct, right? So we can classify it in this way. Sauttarang mean it is the surpassable mindsets are the kamavachara or the sensual plane, right? And anuttara mean rupavachara and arupavachara, or the anuttara's unsurpassable mind is the other immaterial and fine material jhana minds. But again, another classification also has been given here. Tatrapi sa-uttaran. If we add sa-uttaran rupavacharan, that means again another classification. It says sa-uttaran stand for fine material jhana. Anuttaran stand for immaterial jhana. That's the meaning, right? In this way also you can take and discern. Discernment is the important here. That's matter the most. Samahitanti yassa appana samadhi. Now the seventh pair, right? Seventh pair, we reach into the seventh pair. Samahitanti yassa appana samadhi upachara samadhi va atti. That is the samahita, concentrated mind mean yassa appana samadhi va upachara samadhi va atti. In the case of concentrated mind is the refers to the conscious states of the meditator has reached to the absorption 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 and access concentration, right? Sa upachara samadhi. Upachara samadhi means access concentration. Okay. Asamahitanti. What is the asamahita? Asamahita means ubaya samadhi virahitam. Asamahita means you neither have what called you neither have appana jhana samadhi or no what called the access concentration samadhi, right? So you don't have both. So therefore it is what's called asamahita, right? That means asamahita means unwholesome, all unwholesome mindsets. Well, and wholesome mindsets also which has not related to the access concentration, like dana, sila, so on thing, and paying respect to the three ratana, like that. Those are the we can say asamahita minds, right? Asamahita. Basically, it says every mindsets in the kamavachara plane, right? Kamavachara plane. That's the meaning. So let's move to eighth pair, right? Eighth pair. Now, vimuttanti tadanga vikambana vimuttihi vimuttan. What is the liberated mind? Vimutta means liberated mind, and the unliberated mind is the avimutta. What is the meaning? Liberated mind refers to the mental states. Actually, what is called tadanga and vikambana vimutti. Tadanga means part by part defilement, destroy, right? Destroy this abandoning of the defilement part by part, partially only, barely and partially. And so therefore it is liberated mind, right? Liberated mind. And vikambana means when you enter into the jhana, and then what happened? Your five hindrances are suppressed. So therefore it is what is called liberation, temporary liberation only here. Because why? Those are the mundane still. You need to keep in mind this vimutti or the liberation is not the supramundane liberation, right? This is the mundane liberation still. That means while practicing vipassana, you have tadanga vimutti. While entering into the jhana, you have vikambana vimutti, right? So this is the vimutti here. Okay. Now, avimuttanti ube vimutti virahitam. That means you don't have any kind of tadanga vimutti or the vikambana vimutti, right? That is the avimutta. For example, avimutta minds here are, so therefore all akusala mindsets are avimutta, right? And then some kusala mind, for example, if you do not attain to the jhana mind, and if you do we skip your vipassana mind also, and then rest of wholesome mindsets are also avimutta. So that in that way we need to understand. And again says samucheda patipassadya nisrana vimutti nampana ido okasova natti. What is the meaning? So you know now how many vimutti? How many vimutti? There are 5 kinds of vimutti. Tadanga vimutti and the vikambana vimutti is the second one. Those are mundane. And the other vimutti belong to the supramundane states. So for example, samucheda. Samucheda means, a liberation owing to the cutting off of defilement, right? Cutting off of defilement or destroy defilement fully without remainder. That is the samuchcheda, right? Cut off. So that is samuchcheda. And then vikambana patipassati. Other one is patipassati. Patipassati, stilling, liberation through stilling. Patipassati. That is actually related to the fruition knowledge, right? I want to say liberation owing to the cutting off of the defilement. That is related to the magga mind, path knowledge, and the patipassati vimutti is related to the fruition knowledge. Liberation owing to the stilling of the defilement, right? And then the other one is Nissarana Vimukti. Nissarana means, that is the liberation through the final release, liberation from the escape from all defilement, final release, right? So that is what's called Nissarana. That is by the Nibbana object, right? Nibbana object, Nibbana, through the Nibbana object, Nissarana Vimukti. And Patipassati Vimukti is related to the Phalajnana, or the fruition knowledge. And the Samuchcheda Vimukti is the Magga knowledge. So Tadanga Vimukti is the Vipassana knowledge. And then again you have Vikambana Vimukti is the jhana, if you attain to the jhana, right? But Tadanga, we can say again, Tadanga also temporary. If you maintain your wise attention, right? Wise attention, for example, maintain wise attention mean if you actually sometimes let's say now you are seeing some person who had done some unusual thing to you in the past, and then you develop anger, huh? But if you now take your wise attention to the at that situation, and then you just see that, oh, I don't need to get hatred on that person. That person is nothing. All are mentality and materiality. Like if you think in this way, just think only. That's the wise attention. And then this wise attention also calls to Tadanga Pahana, right? Tadanga Vimutti also, we can say, according to this Dhamma. Not it is my word, right? So Ido Kaso Nati. Okay, now let's do the other thing, right? Iti Ajatangwa, the other thing in next session. And okay, today we will finish up to now here. And if you have question, this is your turn to ask the question, Mr. Pankaj.
Sadhu, 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 Bhante. What a wonderful, wonderful discourse today again, Bhante. To mapping all these the wordings to the chart and to the actual chittas and chetasika. What a wonderful discourse, Bhante.
Okay,
We'll open up the forum for the question and answer.
Yeah.
If you have any question for Bhante, please raise your hand. Bhante, we have one here. Please go ahead.
Yeah, Vandami Bhante.
Subihotu, Dakshita.
Sadhu, 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 Bhante. This mapping is so wonderful, Bhante.
Okay.
My question is, Bhante, you said sasankharikang and asankharikang. The difference is, maybe I just didn't get it correctly, Bhante. You said the presence of Thina-mittha is sasankharikang. And the absence of Thina-mittha is asankharikang. Is that correct, Bhante?
Yes. Absence of Thina-mittha is the asankarika, right? If it is associated with Thina-mittha or the Thina-mittha is stricken, it is the sasankarika.
So the chetasika is not changing because of the asankharikam or sasankharikam only, whether it is somanasa, ditti, vipayuktam or sampayuktam, that's a changing part is there, right?
No, chetasika change, because if it is asankarika, no Thina-mittha to the akusala mindsets. I mean, if it is sasankarika, Thina-mittha comes. Then chetasika change. But in the case of kusala mindsets, right? Kusala, you have asankarika and sasankarika, like Somana Sagata, Somana Sagata, Jnana Sampayukta, asankarika. At that time, asankarika and sasankarika, you have two kinds of mindsets. Those, in the case of Kusala side, wholesome side, you don't have any change in the mental factor.
But
No
what,
change in mental factor.
but
Huh?
in that kusala side, Bhante, what is asankarikan and sasankarikan means then?
Yeah. In the case of asankarika, it gives the sasankarika mean, prompted, no? Prompted. And it gives the result, right? Result. For example, if you prompted do the kusala thing, that means that mind is then that mind get more powerful, right? And again, asankarika itself is powerful, right? Because without prompting, you yourself think and do the kusala karma. So that is also that's also high, but it gives the different result, right? Different results mean to the asankarika mind, the result is different. Sasankarika results is different. For example, we can say the asankarika kusala more like everything, whatever the kusala you did in asankarika way, and then the let's say like automatically something like let's say this is wealthy wise, automatically you are very wealthy. Like in the sasankarika also, it gives the result, right? It gives the result, and then again it is also it gives the high result, right? But less than the asankarika, right? That's the meaning.
Bhante, but in that kusala side,
Yeah.
that the chetasika, how the chetasika we gonna say, like for asankarikam and sasankarikam?
Different.
Yes, Bhante.
In the wholesome or unwholesome side?
Wholesome, Bhante.
Wholesome side, you don't have a change in chetasika. That means, for example, let's take that two kinds of first mindset: somanasa sagata, jnana sampayukta, asankarika. Right? That means you are having pleasure or the sukha mental factor, right? Piti mental factor. And then jnana sampayukta means you have jnana, especially here you are knowing about karma and its result. So then you have jnana here. And asankarika mean non-prompted, but now let's say second mind, sasankarika. Sasankarika, same mental factor, piti associated, jnana associated, and other kinds of 29, no? 20, not 29, 30, everything 33 and 31, right? Other 31 mental factors are there because these mindsets are included 33 mental factors. Now, if you reduce piti and wisdom, or the joy and the wisdom, then we have still 31, right? 31. So those 31 mindsets, among those 31 are the same for the both mindsets, right? Sasankarika and the asankarika, no changing, no adding or no losing of any mental factor.
But what you are saying, Bhante, is that the chitta itself would be different with the sasankarika versus asankarika.
Yes,
and that would,
chitta different.
Yeah, while in akusala side, the chitta is also different, as well as the chetasika factor that Udech chetasika factor will also be the contributing factor.
Yeah.
Tinamidda.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's it.
Yeah.
Good.
That makes very clear, Bhante. I
Okay.
just heard something like, okay, no difference in.
Okay. Okay. Okay, Hatu.
Bhante, I have a question with respect to this Samucheda Patipassadi
And
Nisar.
Nisar.
Yeah. So you mentioned, Bhante, here that this has to be the Samucheda Magga. So it will only apply to
Magganyana.
Sotapanna Magga Jnana, then Anagami Magga Jnana, and Arhat Magga
Sakadagami.
Jnana. But it won't apply to Sakudagami because there is nothing happening Samucheda there. Is that correct?
Actually, here we can say in the Sakadagami stage also, it's suppressed only, no? It not
It
suppressed, it
doesn't
is
no
yeah.
Samucheda happening, so it won't apply there maybe. Is that a fair understanding, Bhante?
Yes, yes. No Samucheda happening there. Not cutting off, but it just
Suppressed.
suppressed.
Sadhu, sadhu,
Yeah.
sadhu. Okay.
Okay. Thank you for everybody who will listen to this Dhammadesana. And because this you should understand very clearly. And don't try to practice Vipassana at the beginning. And before that, you need to attain to the discernment. Right? This is the Buddha's teaching according to the Atthakatha, and we get clarified now. So we accumulated kusala in this way, all of us, and then we want to share this thing in this way. Idamme punyang asavakhaya vanghotu. Idamme punyang nibbanasa paccaya hotu. Mama punyang bhagam sabbe sattanam bhajimi. Te sabbe me samam punyang bhagam labhantu. Buddha sasanam chiram tithatu. Buddha sasanam chiram tithatu. Buddha sasanam chiram tithatu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.